I am continuing today with uh, the last episode, the themes of the last episode, where we were talking about the two great questions addressed in the book Faith in the Age of AI. Um, and so those two questions are what is real and what is consciousness? Now, those are the two great questions, not only for our faith, but for all human beings everywhere. And in fact, philosophers and religious people have been weighing in on those two questions forever. But they are particularly important in our times because our times, as Bob Dylan said, they are changing. And so we are in doubt about what is real, and we are in doubt about whether or not we are conscious. I'm not in doubt about what is real, and I'm not in doubt about being conscious. Perhaps you aren't either, but the society itself is in doubt. So when we begin to weigh in on our different opinions on these things, we discover right away that our neighbors and friends, even family members, may not share our opinions. And so a lot of the great controversy in political and social realm rest upon these differences, but they are not spoken and they're not realized. So we often hear people say on one side of the political aisle about the others, they're not even sane. They have lost their complete ever-living mind. And from the standpoint of that they do not share in the common sense that was once truly common to the entire culture, that is true. And so as we do what the Bible calls us to do in pursuing those things that promote peace, we have to understand how our neighbor is thinking and why our neighbor is thinking as he or she is thinking. So on this question, what is real? There are three possible answers, and that is material is real. If something is real, somewhere there is matter involved. So we call this reductionism, that ultimately all things that are real are reduced to matter. So a thought is not actually real in that sense. A thought is an emergent property of something that is real. In other words, my brain thinks thoughts, so a thought is tied to something real, comes from something that's real, but without that material substance, the thought would not exist. So it's a secondary property of reality in that way of thinking. This is the majority view of the entire modern era from 1600, let's say, until right about 1900, early 1900s. And during the 20th century, the Western world began to shift in ways that we explore in Faith in the Age of AI. The other answer to what is real comes from the Eastern world. This is Buddhist philosophy, Hinduism, other kinds of Asian thought systems that do not believe that matter is the bedrock of reality, but indeed that spirit is the bedrock of reality. The Western world is beginning to also turn in this direction. Only if you are a secularist and an atheist, you don't say spirit is real, you say information is real. So we learn in a computer program that we can print off something, and software can design hardware, and so the software is where we begin in some cases now. So it begins to make us wonder if we're living in a simulation, if we're all part of a program, or if we're brains in vats somewhere, or whatever. So those themes are explored in movies like The 13th Floor and The Matrix, very popular ideas, and younger philosophers, younger physicists tend to lean in that direction or think that's plausible. Judaism and Christianity, with some differences between them on this, but still agree on the fact that matter and spirit are both real and both equally real. Some atheists also have taken this position, like Bertrand Russell. William James, which was not an atheist, but not a church-going kind of Christian, what we might call maybe a New Ager now. But anyway, they proposed that both matter and reality emerge from some third property that we do not know yet, but we will learn in due time. So Christians have some compatibility with that. We believe God, as St. Thomas Aquinas said, God has given to matter the dignity of independent existence. So that is, when we talk about what is real, we have these three positions. Matter is real, spirit is real, or in the Christian and the Jewish perspective, matter and spirit are both alike real. And as to what is conscious, what is consciousness? This, I wanted to reveal another source. The Eastern Orthodox position is a continuation of what we call the patristic age. And the patristic age is those early Christian writings from the close of the New Testament up to about 500-600 years. And one of the greatest modern proponents of the patristic viewpoint is Dumitru Stanilo, and this is part of his series on the dogmatic theology series. There's 5 books in this series, and this is the first one called The Experience of God. And I've read them all through, and I've heavily marked it up. And I am very appreciative. Dumitru Stanilo was a Romanian priest. He was 15 years imprisoned by the communists for his faith. He was a holy man. He was a man of prayer, but also he was also a man of science. And he took the Western thought systems seriously, including Protestant thought and Catholic thought and atheistic thought. And he interacted with these in very kind and winsome ways, always bringing them back to this idea of we have been given a revelation through Christ that gives us a different take on reality than any kind of secular position. And I have been convinced of that as well, and I believe that's a well-spoken position. This book of his is called Orthodox Spirituality. Neither a Protestant nor a Catholic will agree with all of it, but it's very powerful in weighing out on what human thought is all about and why we think. And so I'll begin to bring this to a close by pointing to St. Maximus the Confessor, which is probably the greatest synthesis. He created the greatest synthesis of patristic thought. Maximus the Confessor said that because the world is made out of word, the universe is made from the Word of God, Logos. Everything contains Logos. So he said a tree is intelligent, but not conscious. A dog is both intelligent and conscious, but not self-conscious. And only human beings are intelligent. We could argue that, but he said all human beings are intelligent. They're conscious, pardon me, and they're also self-conscious. They're aware that they are aware. And this is the human quality that points to us being made in the image and the likeness of God, that is different from all other systems. So when we look at an artificial intelligence system, it is highly intelligent. We might come to the place we think it's conscious, I don't know. But it's not self-conscious. It's not aware that it is aware, and it is not made in the image and the likeness of God. These may seem to be obscure and kind of odd arguments that during the modern period even Christians made fun of them and neglected. But with the change from modernism to postmodernism, the Western world is once again having to wrestle with these questions because we no longer have our sense in common. So we are coming to different answers about what is reality and what is conscious. And the Christian faith has some unique perspectives on both of these questions, but to actually offer these responses to the watching world, we're going to have to relearn our own faith at a much deeper level than how we have been accustomed to thinking in the last many decades, indeed the last 200-300 years. So thanks for watching today and joining in these discussions. I love to hear from you, not only about what I've said, but also the presentation. Some of you are helping me to make a better technical presentation. I'm learning this medium. Thank you for your patience.